Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior and welcome to another Mortal Kombat video. Now in today's history breakdown and analysis, I will be going over the background and history of none other than the Crimson Blood Queen Skarlet. Now in order for us to talk about Skarlet, we actually need to talk about the rumours surrounding her creation, as well as the alterations she has undergone. As you see, there's in fact been some slight tweaks to her origin story between the events of Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat 11. So without any further ado, let's get on to talking about the history of Skarlet. Now, although Skarlet made her debut as a DLC character in MK9, the existence of Skarlet has somewhat floated around ever since the arcade days of MK2. You see, back in the extremely old arcade days, when Mortal Kombat was available to the public, there were rumours floating around about the MK cabinets, that there was an error within them that would turn Scorpion red. Now, as you would imagine, this would catch the attention of many, with fans believing that there was a secret character in the game. As you see, back in time, during the early stages of the Mortal Kombat franchise, a lot of the original ninjas were somewhat palette swaps of each other. So when people had mentioned this somewhat red Scorpion, it led to many people speculating who this was, despite this being a fabricated rumour at the time. However, the Mortal Kombat developers actually heard about this, and later down the line in the third Mortal Kombat game, would create a character to somewhat homage this rumour, that being the character that we all know now being Ermacs. Now, as you would suspect, during the release of the MK2 cabinets, this rumour would once again surface, but this time instead of a red Scorpion, it was apparently a red katana, with this rumoured glitch being referred to as Skarlet. The NRS developers caught word about this, and eventually over time turned this rumour to reality, creating her and having her debut in Mortal Kombat 9. Now, due to Skarlet actually being a DLC character, she herself isn't that integral to the main plot of MK9. However, her MK9 counterpart would appear in Mortal Kombat 11. Now, in her original reveal trailer, we actually gained some information about Skarlet's creation, and it mirrors a lot of that of Mileena's. You see, Shao Kahn wanted the ultimate warrior, and wanted someone that would physically embody the blood of his enemy, as well as the power he had at his fingertips. Now, due to Skarlet's extreme power, as well as her insatiable bloodlust, Shao Kahn for the most part kept her shackled and chained, as her insatiable bloodlust made her very difficult to control. However, when she was freed of her shackles, she was extremely successful in the task she was given. So this is in fact the original backstory of Skarlet for MK9. However, in Mortal Kombat 11, this has in fact been altered. Between the events of the two games, it seems like she's not really a sibling of Mileena anymore, because from some verbal exchanges in Mortal Kombat 11, we do learn that Skarlet's new origin is that she was an orphan left on the streets, and that the Emperor Shao Kahn had come across her and adopted her into his family. Now, understandably, much like his treatment of Kitana, everyone that he takes in must serve a purpose. So whilst being raised in Shao Kahn's fortress, she would be taught blood magic, and the Emperor himself would teach her how to drain her enemies dry. So eventually, over time, Skarlet was consumed by her own power, becoming a bloodthirsty warrior that was driven to taste the blood of her enemies. Now, for the most part, things are somewhat the same between MK9 and MK11. It seems like she's always been kept as a somewhat last resort for Shao Kahn, as her being able to drain the blood of her enemies does significantly amplify her power. So these are in fact the changes for Skarlet's origin story in MK9 as well as MK11. Mortal Kombat 9. Now, although Skarlet herself isn't integral at all to the main story mode, she does make a few cameos every here and there. It's nothing significant, but it is at least worth mentioning that she is around. So that being said, let's just jump to the Mortal Kombat X comic book series, as she does play more of a prominent role there. Now, the Mortal Kombat comic book series takes place between the events of MK9 as well as that of MKX. So Shao Kahn was defeated by Raiden at the end of MK9, and Shinnok was imprisoned within his own amulet. Now, after these events had transpired, and Outworld lacking a Kahn, there were two candidates that seemed suitable for the role. Understandably, Mileena was one of the main contenders here, as she was seen as the rightful successor to Shao Kahn, but one of Shao Kahn's generals, Kotal, was somewhat seen as the people's champion, as his leadership and skills were best suited for the role. However, both candidates would not stand at the side and simply just allow someone to become the Emperor of Outworld. So after Shao Kahn's fall, a massive civil war would ensue. Now, this was actually an affair that Skarlet would remain out of. Despite being a somewhat daughter of Shao Kahn, she was simply not interested in it, as she had nothing to gain. However, she would be approached by one of Mileena's allies, that being known as Reiko. Now, at first she didn't think much of this, and Reiko was well aware of this, so he would reveal to her his true intentions. You see, behind the mists of this Outworld civil war, Reiko had met the Chaos Cleric known as Havoc. The Chaos Cleric promised him the opportunity to not only become Outworld's emperor, but a god. And they would do this through the use of something known as the Blood Code. You see, the Blood Code was an ancient form of Outworld magic that could imbue its wielder with blood magic and incredible power. So if this opportunity presented to him by Havoc, he would understandably take it, wanting to take not only Outworld's throne for himself, but every realm beyond that. Now he couldn't do this alone, as the Blood Code itself was tied to Kamidogu daggers, and each of them were entrusted to a different realm. Reiko explained to Skarlet that if they were able to acquire all of them, then the two could bask in their incredible power together. Now Skarlet was immediately interested when she learned that blood magic was involved, as it played to her strengths, and around this time she was famished to feed on her enemies. So she would accept Reiko's offer and secretly work alongside him and Havoc as they slowly started to assemble different Kamidogus. Now during the events of the Mortal Kombat comic book series, Skarlet is successful in retrieving Outworld's Kamidogu, as at the time Kotal Kahn was battling Shokun's forces as a blood feud had been sparked between the two sides. Now while stationed here, Skarlet learned that not only did they have Jackie Briggs and Cassie Cage captive, but Havoc explained to her Cassie Cage's powers, and how they would trigger if she was watching someone she loved be severely injured. So to take advantage of her green energy, Skarlet would brutally beat Jackie in front of Cassie, but unfortunately it seemed like Cassie's powers didn't properly manifest yet. So as such, after beating the two up, she would throw them back in their cell. Now when Reiko returns back to Havoc's side, he reveals to them that Kotal Kahn and the special forces have caught on to their plan, and thus are on their way. Now to guarantee their victory, and to give Skarlet a taste of the power she has at her fingertips now, he would cut himself and Skarlet with the Kamidogu daggers, and bask in the immense power of blood magic. So this would serve as a way to amplify their power for the upcoming battle. Now Skarlet would enter the cells of both Jackie and Cassie, and forcibly enslave them under the Blood Code, believing that during the battle, it may force Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade to hold back. Now eventually, Reiko's forces are finally confronted by Kotal Kahn and the special forces, and knowing what comes next, Reiko would initiate battle, with Jackie and Cassie going after Johnny and Sonya, and Reiko and Skarlet going after Kotal and Devora. Now during the fight, Skarlet attempts to drain Devora of her blood, however she's unaware that chitin blood is in fact extremely toxic, so Skarlet is severely weakened in this fight. However, this doesn't put her out the battle, but when you think there can't be any more anarchy in this massive fight, Melina and her Tarkatan horde also arrive, learning about Reiko's betrayal and that Kotal Kahn will be there. Now the fight between the two sides becomes an all-out war, with Reiko taking the likes of Kotal Kahn, Ermac and Melina at the same time. However, Skarlet does confront Melina in the hopes of stopping her. Now before Skarlet can get any momentum going on her side, she is in fact held in place by Ermac, and Melina takes this opportunity to completely eviscerate Skarlet's legs, weakening her and putting her on the brink of death. Now Melina in fact doesn't kill Skarlet, instead saying that she will torture her soon after this is done. But before a true victor can be decided for this battle, a Blood Code corrupted Raiden strikes and electrocutes everyone, so Reiko is somewhat successful in winning this battle. However, this is in fact the last time we do see Skarlet in the Mortal Kombat X comic book run, and in fact the last time we do see the iteration of this character in the main canon, but it's never really cleared up as to what happened to this version of Skarlet after she had her legs blown out. The only idea we do have of what really happened to her is through some intro dialogues where we learned that apparently she was able to regrow her legs and carry on her life. However, it's not properly explored in the main canon, and we don't really see this version of Skarlet in MK11, as for the most part it does focus on her MK9 counterpart. And whilst we're talking about Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 11. Now the story mode for 11 is extremely interesting, as it does intertwine two different timelines together, that being present time in the Mortal Kombat universe and the second tournament of MK9, so just before Kung Lao had his neck snapped. Now due to Skarlet seemingly being around during the events of MK9, we really get to see her in action during the events of MK11, so she does play an active role in this game. Now the time merger was done by a titan known as Kronika, who has grown tired of Raiden meddling with the timeline, and as such believes it's time for her to take matters into her own hands. She believes that by merging these two different timelines together, that she can use Shao Kahn and his army as a way for her to create a new era absent of Raiden, and one that's in her vision, hence why the two timelines have been merged together. Now, a fight immediately ensues when the two timelines are merged. As you see, Shao Kahn learns about how Kotal has now replaced him, and that this is a position that he must only have. So as such, a massive fight begins, with Shao Kahn and his allies battling Kotal Kahn and the MK9 iteration of the Earthrealm Defenders. Now, during this battle, Skarlet attempts to overpower Kotal, but despite her best efforts, Kotal proves to be far too strong for her, and is defeated. Now, Shao Kahn also follows suit, but before Shao Kahn and his allies can be executed, they would all be saved by Devora, as she herself is also working alongside Kronika, and when they meet the Titan, a deal is made between the two sides, as understandably Skarlet, Shao Kahn and the rest of his allies want Raiden out the picture, so she would work very close by the Emperor. Now, after an infiltration mission with Kotal and Jade goes south, Skarlet takes Jade as a prisoner, as she wishes to savor Jade's sweet Edenian blood, which is something we do see during Kitana's chapter. Now, the Tarkatan camp she's stationed at is infiltrated by Kitana, Liu Kang and Kung Lao, but she's able to see through their disguise, and as such does call them out, causing the Tarkatans to attack them. Now, Skarlet does attempt to run away from this battle, but Kitana prevents her from getting far. Now, it's here where the two have a confrontation, where Skarlet snarls at Kitana and her Edenian pride. As expected, the two do fight, but Skarlet is once again defeated. Now, after this, we actually do not know what's happened to her, as Kitana is able to unite the Shokan forces with the Tarkatan horde to take on Shao Kahn. So as we actually come to the end of the story mode, the details about Skarlet are not at all discussed. So I think it's rather safe to believe that she was captured by Kitana and imprisoned after Shao Kahn was defeated. But of the timeline somewhat being reset by the end of Mortal Kombat 11, her fate is somewhat left unknown. But yes, that's in fact everything about the history of Skarlet. I hope you've enjoyed this video and learnt more by doing so. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and I figured it'd be a great way of kind of clearing up what exactly has been going on with Skarlet as a character, because quite a bit has changed since her debut in MK9. So hopefully by me making this video, you've been able to in fact come away learning more about her. But yes guys, that's actually it for this video. But yes guys, that is basically it for now. So if possible, before this video wraps up, let's try getting it to about 500 likes. It's a fantastic way of supporting the channel, and also do not forget to tick that bell, as it will notify you when I do upload a video. So yeah guys, that's it for now, and as always, please comment, like, subscribe and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care, and I will see you all next time.